So today, the reading I'm going to do from Wayne Dyer's Everyday Wisdom, just a short little piece, same as usual. Live forgiveness every day rather than just talking about it on Sunday. Little gems he gives us, eh? And from Julia Cameron's Blessings, today I have chosen for you, Charity graces my view of the world. And the quote that she uses for this page is from Richard Baxter. In necessary things, unity; in disputed things, liberty; in all things, charity. Mine is a charitable heart. It is rooted in the wisdom of compassion. It is fed by the springs of self-love, taking a compassionate view of myself and others. I act in the world with gentle temperance. I am not rash in action, harsh in judgment, quick in condemnation of those I see. My heart is a peaceable kingdom. Love rules its territory. Love shapes its laws. I bless my personal charity, and I choose it. My charity is born not of denial, but of respect. I consciously choose to view all beings as having both dignity in their current selves and the potential to be ever more beautiful as they expand those selves. This being the case, when people grieve or disappoint me, I remind myself that the seeds of future greatness still lie within them, and that my forgiving grace may be exactly the support which they need. My charity makes me a willing servant, but not a doormat. As kind as I am to others, I practice being kinder still to myself, remembering that each of us carries the flame of divinity. I bless that flame in myself and husband its light, and then extend its charitable glow to others. I love her stuff. And Richard Carlson's Don't Sweat the Small Stuff for today, I chose Choose being kind over being right. As I first introduced in strategy number 12, he says, you are given many opportunities to choose between being kind and being right. You have chances to point out to someone their mistakes, things they could or should have done differently, ways they can improve. You have chances to correct people, privately as well as in front of others. What all these opportunities amount to are chances to make someone else feel bad and yourself to feel bad in the process. Without getting too psychoanalytic about it, the reason we are tempted to put others down, correct them, or show them how we're right and they're wrong is that our ego mistakenly believes that if we point out how someone else is wrong, we must be right, and therefore we will feel better. In actuality, however, if you pay attention to the way you feel after you put someone down, you'll notice that you feel worse than before the put down. Your heart, the compassionate part of you, knows that it's impossible to feel better at the expense of someone else. Luckily, the opposite is true. When your goal is to build people up, to make them feel better, to share in their joy, you too reap the rewards of their positive feelings. The next time you have a chance to correct someone, or even if their facts are a little off, resist the temptation. Instead, ask yourself, what do I really want out of this interaction? Chances are what you want is a peaceful interaction where all parties leave feeling good. Each time you resist being right, and instead choose kindness, you'll notice a peaceful feeling within. Recently, my wife and I were discussing a business idea that had turned out really well. I was talking about my idea, clearly taking credit for our success. Chris, in her usual loving manner, allowed me to have the glory. Later that day, I remembered that the idea was actually her idea, not mine. Whoops! When I called her to apologize, it was obvious to me that she cared more about my joy than she did about her own need to take credit. She said that she enjoys seeing me happy and that it doesn't matter whose idea it was. Do you see why she's so easy to love? He says. Don't confuse this strategy with being a wimp or not standing up for what you believe in. I'm not suggesting that it's not okay for you to be right, only that if you insist on being right, there is often a price to pay: your inner peace. In order to be a person filled with equanimity, you must choose kindness over being right most of the time. The best place to start is with the next person you speak to. And that brings me to, I want to introduce one more book because I thought this passage was appropriate. And it's called Life is Messy by Matthew Kelly. And when I originally started reading these to you, I wanted to use his book, but his chapters were too long and I thought it would be too much. But he does have some good stuff, so I thought, well, maybe I can just take out little excerpts from it. But I thought this was good. I hope you enjoy it too. It's called Ambassadors of Hope. There is a battle raging in each and every human heart. This battle is between hope and despair, and we can tip the balance by embracing the call to become ambassadors of hope. Many years ago, I was on my way home from work, and a friend came to mind. It occurred to me that I hadn't heard from him for a few days, and I knew he'd been having a tough time. I have no idea what led me to do so, but I drove to his place on the other side of town to visit him. When he opened the door, he looked horrible. The place was dark and there was trash everywhere. We opened the curtains to let some light in and a few windows to get some fresh air. I suggested he shave and take a shower while I ordered a pizza and tidied up a bit. He resisted for a moment, but I said, "Come on, you'll feel so much better when you're done. The pizza will be here." We sat in front of his porch eating pizza and telling stories, and when we were done, I drove home. The next day, I opened my mailbox to find this handwritten note from him. "I was going to kill myself last night, but then you stopped by just to say hello, and I thought to myself, somebody does care, so thank you." Something like that stops you in your tracks. It reminds you how powerful our actions are and how tragic inaction can be. I knew he had been having a tough time, but I never imagined he would do something so drastic. Today, that man is a doctor. He has a wife and 3 children, a mortgage, and a dog. On that night, all those years ago, he was just going through a rough patch. We have never spoken of that evening all those years ago, but he knows, and I know. What do we know? We know that we can call each other at any hour of the day or night, and that we will be there for each other, whatever the need may be. The point is, our actions can tip the balance between hope and despair. That is a power that should be used often and respected always. I just thought that this was so good and so appropriate because just a smallest thing that we can do can really help people. And remember in a previous one that I did was about intuition. You think his intuition told him to go and see his friend, and thank heaven he listened to his intuition. As we do have an impact on other people in this world, no matter just the smallest thing can help so much. So, but I wish for you that you have a loving day and that you reach out your love and shine your light to others too. Okay? Till next Monday, Granny Dorothy visits. Bye.